If your forehand isn't improving, there are probably two main reasons why, and neither of them are your fault. The first reason is probably because you're working on the wrong thing in practice. And the reason that's not your fault is because coaches these days, especially online coaches, are teaching the complete wrong thing. They're focused on very advanced techniques and talking about what professional tennis players do, and that's not appropriate for the vast majority of players that are watching YouTube videos to improve their tennis. And I've seen a lot of in-person lessons as well, and I see exactly the same thing. Coaches working on completely the wrong thing. If you want to improve your technique within your practice, you have to focus on what I call limiting factors, the underlying problem within your stroke. And that normally means starting at the start and figuring out what the first thing is that's going wrong. And that's what I'm going to be talking about in this video, kind of laying out the different steps so you can understand where you might need to focus your attention. The second thing that is probably preventing you from improving your forehand, I'm going to talk about more towards the end of the video. So hopefully you find it helpful. If you do, it'd be great if you give me a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel before, much appreciated if you could do that as well. So the first thing that you need to understand is that there is no perfect technique. There is no right and wrong way to hit a forehand. It's complete garbage. It's just something that coaches make up to get you to click on their videos and to sell you coaching programs. Just watch the best players on the planet and you'll see there's a massive variety of forehand techniques, from the grip, the preparation, the swing path, the follow through. And it's the same thing at all levels of tennis. You take good 5-0 players and you'll see variety. Good 4-0 players, you'll see variety. Good 3-5 players, you'll see variety. You get the idea. There's no right and wrong way to do things. But there are two things that are more important than anything else. Two kind of keys. One of them is going to be controlling the angle of the racket face at the moment of contact. That's why you can see people with a really funky looking technique, but they can be very effective players because they have the ability to control the angle of the racket face at the moment of contact relative to their swing path and swing speed and relative to the flight of the ball. And that's how they dictate where the ball goes. So that's extremely important, your ability to do that. And then the other thing that's even more important than that is getting to the ball in the first place. Now that sounds obvious, but nobody talks about it. There's thousands and thousands of YouTube videos out there and they're all talking about the exact things that you should do, and no one is talking about being able to read the flight of the ball and setting up in position, or getting to the shot in the first place and then setting up in position. And that's the most important thing. So now that you understand that, we're going to go through the different steps in the shot cycle so you can start to work out what the underlying problem is with your stroke. And it's really important to keep in mind that you need to address the first thing that's going wrong. So maybe you're not getting a good clean contact. Well, the reason you might be not getting a good clean contact and controlling the angle of the racket face could be because you're hitting the ball late. And the reason that you're hitting the ball late might be because you're not starting your swing at the right time. And the reason that you're not starting your swing at the right time could be for a number of different reasons. One of the big ones being you're not preparing soon enough. So you can't necessarily focus on fixing the contact point without fixing the timing, and you can't fix the timing without fixing the preparation. So we need to go through things in order and look at the shot cycle so you can fix the first thing that's going wrong. And once you fix that, it actually solves a lot of the other problems, but then you can work on the next thing that's holding you back. And by doing this over and over again, that's how you really develop high quality strokes. And this is a process I've been going through myself, relearning to play left-handed. I'm naturally a right-handed player. I got to a pretty good level with my right hand and then unfortunately injured myself in a mountain bike crash, and now I'm relearning to play with my left hand, and I've gone through this same process to get to a solid 4.5 level using my left hand. So I'm very confident that it works. So let's talk about the stroke. The first thing you want to be thinking about is the split step. Landing your split step just after the moment of contact so that then you can react and move and set up in the right position, because you've already said getting to the ball is literally the most important thing. Now, there can be something that comes before this. When you watch a lot of players in match play, they don't recover quickly enough, so they're not even ready to do a split step to then prepare early. So if you're not recovering, you might need to really focus on that, especially within your match play. But providing you're recovering, it's then about the split step. Now, the only reason for not doing a split step on every single shot is because you don't have the physical condition to be able to do it. And if you don't have the physical condition to be able to do it, then you should be working on your physical conditioning, because it's going to be a safety feature. So landing the split step just after your opponent makes contact, and then trying to read the ball as quickly as you can, so that hopefully by the time your feet hit the ground, you know where the ball's going, and your first movement can be starting to help you set up in the right position for your shot. So if you're not doing that, that's what you should be focusing on. Then it's about setting up in the right position for your shot. A lot of players get too close to the ball, and when they're too close to the ball, it prevents them from using good biomechanics, and that causes a lot of other technical problems. So you might need to fix your spacing, which means potentially doing some practice working on different footwork patterns, or during your practice focusing on the spacing, really thinking about your positioning in relation to the ball. And for the vast majority of players that send me videos for video analysis, and for the vast majority of players that I see kind of playing in tournaments, this is the big thing that needs addressing. Most players below the 5-0 level, so even most 4 or 5 players, they don't set up in optimal positions. They're not set up early enough. They're not set up in the right position. They don't move forwards quickly enough. They don't move backwards quickly enough. They get too close to the ball, and because they're not in the right position, it throws everything else off. So the reason that I'm belaboring this point is because if you're watching videos like this, it is a massively high likelihood that this is what you need to focus on. As a 4.5 player with my left hand, this is all I'm focusing on. I have kind of a secondary thought of what I'm doing with my swing, but it's all about setting up in the right position. It's kind of the key to high level tennis. So we've got that side of things, which you probably need to be focusing on. And then the next thing is then going to be the timing of your swing. Providing you set up in the right position and time, then trying to start your swing soon enough relative to the flight of the ball. And if you're the sort of player that really struggles with hitting the ball late, then there's a very good chance that you don't want to be kind of complicating your stroke and trying to use a modern ATP style stroke, especially if you're a slightly older player. You want to simplify things. So you do need a good unit turn. You need to get your upper body turned. You need to get your pelvis pointing to the side, whether you're hitting from a neutral stance, whether you're hitting from an open stance, but you don't need extravagant next gen positioning as part of your preparation, because it takes physical time to go from there to there to there. And if you're already slow to prepare, you're already late to swing, you don't need that added complication. So you just do the best that you can with your current skill and ability level. And what that might mean for you is just standing side onto the ball and just hitting through it like that. Just really uncomplicated. Get your racket behind the flight of the ball and hit through it and try to hit the ball cleanly. When the ball's lower, you can take your racket back lower and hit through. When the ball's higher, you can take your racket back higher and hit through, but you're just trying to get a clean contact in as uncomplicated a way as possible. Now, if you are more advanced than that, then obviously go for it. Myself, I'm trying to use kind of a very modern style technique with my left hand, because that's suitable for my ability and skill level. So you've got to find what works for you, but just don't get distracted by all the shiny tennis objects that promise that if you do this with your elbow, you're going to hit the ball like Alcaraz, because it's obviously crazy talk. You've got to find an appropriate technique for you. And this is how you kind of go through your strokes and think about it. Be very analytical like this, record yourself playing, watch it back, and be honest with yourself. What am I doing wrong? And for most of you, it's going to be the preparation and the spacing. And if it's not, that's awesome. You're probably already a relatively high level player. Then you can start to get nuanced with working on the more specific details. The other thing that's preventing you from improving your forehand is lack of skill, lack of hand-to-eye coordination. And I know that sounds harsh, but it's true. It's the reality. And you've probably already encountered this. You might already know what you need to do, but when you try it, you can't do it. Because it doesn't matter if you practice in the right way and if you focus on the right thing. If you can't read the flight of the ball, you're never going to be able to set up in the right position and start your swing at the right time. And if you don't have the coordination, you're never going to be able to adjust things and control the angle of racket face on different types of balls that you're dealing with. And this is the exact problem that I ran into for a number of years when I was younger. Like, I was an okay player, but I was basically stuck at a certain level from the age of 18 to 35 because my timing wasn't good enough. And because my timing wasn't good enough, I used to hit the ball late. I was never able to generate power without making way too many unforced errors. So I turned myself into a grinder, got the ball back and waited for opponents to miss. And I was always involved in horrible 3-hour matches that even when I won, I didn't feel good about myself. And this was despite working as a coach and being a really good quality practicer. I knew what I was supposed to do, I just couldn't do it because it turns out that I had small issues with my visual system and with my coordination that were preventing me from having good timing. But once I learned about using brain-based training to improve my vision and improve my coordination, it changed everything, and I was able to turn myself into a really good player with my right hand. And now over the last few years, I've become a pretty good player with my left hand. So brain-based training can literally change your tennis level. And that's why I want to teach you how to use it for free. Next week, I'm holding a free live 5-day Neuro Tennis Masterclass where I'm going to be teaching you how to use brain-based training to improve your skill, to improve your hand-to-eye coordination. So I'll place a link to that free masterclass down in the description. If you click on that link, it'll take you over to a page that's going to explain more and show you how to register. Like I said, this is completely free. The reason I'm running it is because I want to help you become a better player. I know what it's like to be really frustrated and not be able to improve. You go out there, you practice hard, you invest your time, you invest your money on coaching, but you can't improve. And it's extremely frustrating, but there's a way to change it. You just have to approach things a little bit differently. You can improve your hand-to-eye coordination, and as you do that, as you become more skillful, it then allows you to play higher level tennis. So what we're going to be doing on this masterclass, we're basically going to be going through brain activation exercises. So day one, we're going to be looking at technique and kind of going into what I've talked about here on a deeper level. Day two, we're going to be doing some assessments, different brain-based assessments to do with vision, to do with coordination, and also to do with balance, because that's really important as well. And then days 3, 4, and 5, we're going to be working on vision drills, coordination drills, balance drills, so that hopefully by the end of the week, you'll have seen improvements in each of those areas. You are literally going to be a more skillful tennis player than when you started. And what I try and encourage you to think about is, if you want to play higher level tennis, it's not about understanding high level tennis technique. If you want to play higher level tennis, you have to see, you have to move, and you have to balance like a higher level tennis player. You don't get to put the horse before the cart. You can't develop high level technique without a high level body. And that's what I'm going to be showing you how to do, live and free. Get to join me for 5 days. So hopefully that's something you are excited about and you're going to take me up on the opportunity. And if it is, I look forward to seeing you there. If you have any questions about what I've talked about in this video, any questions about the masterclass that I'm hosting next week, leave them down in the comment section. Obviously, if you're watching this video after the masterclass is finished, I apologize, you missed out. But if you're watching it in time, I can't wait to see you there, and I'll catch you next time.